Welcome to Season 2 of the Shekina Meditation Podcast, created by community members and friends of Shekina Garden in Pai, Thailand. Shekina communities are dedicated to creating free devotional spaces of Christian practice for spiritual seekers and travelers around the world. We post Christ-centered guided meditation each week to help you in your personal or small group practice. You can find episode show notes and other information at shekinacommunity.com.
Hi everyone, it's Ro and Ray here. We are sitting under a tree outside and it's shady and a little light breeze is flowing around us. It's very sunny and beautiful here at the garden today. And today we have season 2, episode 81, can you believe, of the podcast.
And as always, you guys are patrons. More than ever, you are making this happen. You are supporting the podcast and you are supporting our community. We raise money through our Patreon to keep the podcast running and to keep our community running. And it is a free space for travelers and for spiritual seekers, and we want to keep it that way. So your patronage is part of the way that we do that. You can find us at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast, and you can support us there.
And there's lots of other ways to help out if financially is not appropriate for you right now. Sharing really helps. So if you enjoy this episode, you might like to just put a link to it on your stories or up on your socials on any page. Send out an email newsletter to everyone in your contact list telling them about us. Why not? Make t-shirts that have our faces on them and that says, listen to Shekina Meditation Podcast, it'll change your life. I mean, sky's the limit, you guys.
Yeah, do that all on your own.
Yeah, why not? Sky is the limit. But truly sharing and letting other people know about this podcast really helps. It helps us know that it's worth putting out there into the world, and it also puts us in contact with more people that might want to come on board, enjoy the podcast, get something from it, maybe even support it financially in the future as well.
So today's episode is Lectio Divina on Colossians 3, verses 11 to 15 with Ro. Ro will offer some exercises at first. That's the first thing she'll do. She'll offer some exercises to help you find quiet readiness for meditation. Then she will guide you through the verses with plenty of space for your own contemplation, perhaps a few questions. And then third, our recommendation is that you spend some time processing the meditation. So you can do that either through like a talking circle or if you're with other people or just a little sharing session, or you can do it on your own. If you're by yourself right now listening, then take some time to jot a few notes down in a journal or on a random piece of paper, or maybe you want to make a voice note with your thoughts, or just sit and really be with it a little bit longer.
Let's begin.
And good morning. Welcome to meditation at Shekina Garden. So glad to be back here meditating with all of you beautiful people. Let's make a start by finding a comfortable position. Keep a long, straight spine. Might need to take some little stretches, movement to settle our body down. We might like to take a couple of deep breaths. In and out. Just calming our body, letting our body settle down into stillness. We can let our eyes close gently if we like. Our hands might be resting in our lap or clasped together, open on our knees, whatever feels comfortable. No real rules about how to sit or even staying still. If you need to move throughout the meditation, that's fine. But for the start, at least, let's find a moment of stillness, becoming aware of our weight on the mat. An awareness of our breath. Just taking some moments to notice the sensations as we breathe. This beautiful, life-sustaining breath coming in and out of our body, connecting us to the world around us as we take in what all these green plants are giving us and as we expel what they need. Letting our awareness gently shift from our breath to other sensations in the body. Feelings of warmth or cool, noticing gentle breeze. Perhaps where our body touches other parts of our body. Moving gently from sensation to sensation, just noticing the body. And as we're noticing, perhaps relaxing a little if we can. Letting our jaw be loose. Letting our shoulders relax. Our face soft. Letting our attention now turn inward to those thoughts. Thoughts can be ideas, emotions, memories, any sorts of activity that's going on in the mind. We're just taking a moment to notice without judgment what's happening in our minds this morning. Looking kindly on the thoughts that we notice, whether they're attractive or not. Noticing each one as they come up and then just letting them pass by. We might like to imagine perhaps that they're clouds in the sky above us, floating into our line of vision. As they arise in the mind, we can notice them, maybe say hello to them or just acknowledge them, and then allow them to pass by, floating past like a cloud. Letting them pass by, not getting too distracted by them, but just noticing those thoughts, letting them pass by again and again, so that all that is above us is just a clear sky. When thoughts come again during the meditation and distract us, if it's useful, you can again use this image of the thoughts as clouds and just let them float away again and again. You might even like to imagine blowing them away with your breath. As you exhale, the clouds are just floating away, letting our attention come back again and again to the words of our meditation. And as we turn to the second movement of our meditation, the reading of the words, today we're doing Lectio Divina meditation, a sacred reading meditation. We acknowledge the divine presence here with us. As we do Christ-centered meditation, we acknowledge the presence of Christ. We might like to open our palms on our knees as a symbol of listening to the Spirit of Christ as we listen to these words. We make our rengoli with our beautiful passion fruit as a symbol to remind us of the presence, always here with us, but a symbol of welcoming, taking note of the presence of God with us. You might like to say a silent prayer in your heart of welcome or of openness or readiness as we look at these words together. These words coming to us over thousands of years, coming from Paul, a writer of the Second Testament, writing to the brand new church not long after Christ. To this first reading, I invite us to look out or listen out for a word or words that stand out to us. Perhaps a phrase that seems interesting, something that we want to think more on or meditate more upon. Perhaps asking the divine to draw our attention to something. What is there in this passage, God, that you would have us hear today? This is from a letter known as Colossians, a letter to people in Colossae. In this new life, it doesn't matter if you are a Jew or a Gentile, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbaric, uncivilized, slave or free. Christ is all that matters, and he lives in all of us. Since God chose you to be the holy people he loves, you must clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. And let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. For as members of one body, you are called to live in peace and always be thankful. In this second reading, I'll leave a couple of minutes silence between each sentence or two. I'll read each phrase 2 times and then leave some silence. I'll invite us again to look for a word or phrase that might seem to stand out to us. Perhaps again inviting the Spirit of God to speak to us through these words. Perhaps asking, why do I need to hear this today? What is in this for me today? Why do I need to hear it? In this new life, it doesn't matter if you are a Jew or a Gentile, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbaric, uncivilized, slave or free. Christ is all that matters, and He lives in all of us. In this new life, it doesn't matter if you are a Jew or a Gentile, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbaric, uncivilized, slave or free. Christ is all that matters, and He lives in all of us. Since God chose you to be the holy people He loves, you must clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Since God chose you to be the holy people He loves, you must clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. And let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. For as members of one body, you are called to live in peace and always be thankful. And let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. For as members of one body, you are called to live in peace and always be thankful. For this final reading, we might like to offer back to the divine any response we have to these words, knowing that we are known and loved and welcomed, whatever our response might be. As we read these words one more time, perhaps offering back any response, or just letting the words wash over us again, and listening perhaps again for anything that's standing out for us today. In this new life, it doesn't matter if you are a Jew or a Gentile, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbaric, uncivilized, slave or free. Christ is all that matters, and He lives in all of us. Since God chose you to be the holy people He loves, you must clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. And let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. For as members of one body you are called to live in peace and always be thankful. Gently beginning to bring our awareness back from this time of meditation to our breath, to our bodies, to the circle that we're sitting in with others. Perhaps taking a few deep breaths again, in and out. Once we're ready, we will be sharing in a talking circle. Now, signal that we're ready to do so will be that we're seated with our eyes open. Take your time.
Thank you for joining today. There will be a new guided meditation available each week, so don't forget to subscribe to iTunes or sign up for our newsletter to get podcasts delivered to your inbox at www.shekinacommunity.com/podcast newsletter. Also, you can rate or review on iTunes or sign up as a patron at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast. Have a beautiful week. Many blessings to you.